What's up, guys? Welcome back to Libertalia Game Supply, and welcome to the update video for my Judgement Prophecy Spellbook deck, whatever you want to call it. I posted one just really quick as soon as the notice of Judgement coming off the list dropped on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I also mentioned in that video I didn't really have a chance to play test it. I just threw that together quick, got it out there just as like a starting point. And now that I've had a few days to kind of play test it and alter some stuff, I think this build is definitely way better than that one was, like by miles. And so I'm excited to bring this to you. It's actually kind of fun. It's just a little different playstyle, I guess. Feels a little bit more like an old school lockdown deck rather than like a control or a burn deck. It's just something different. And it's not cheap. I won't lie to you about that. It's definitely not a cheap deck, but whatever. So we'll get into this here. So, Triple Blue Boy, Spellbook, Magician of Prophecy. So on summon, he searches a Spellbook spell from your deck to your hand. 2 Jowgen. So I had made the mistake in saying that I thought Jowgen was something you needed to hard draw a normal summon. That's definitely not true. You can special summon it with the Judgement, and really that's kind of the go-to turn 1 play if possible. And on that special summon, you just don't activate its effect. So you would, on turn 1, you'd be special summoning it so your opponent didn't already have a chance to build a board. The only time you would need to use its effect is if you're going second and you're trying to wipe the board, at which point it would just kill itself, which would put you in a bad spot depending on what else you have. But 2 is more than plenty. Drawing it actually kind of sucks now. If it ends up in my hand, the normal summon's fine because I do get to use the effect. But more often than not, I'm trying to special summon this off of Judgement. Double Magician's Soul and Illusion of Chaos, and we'll just explain the whole package right now, along with the 3 Preparation of Rites. So the 3 Preparation of Rites are nice because they count towards your Judgement, they search your Illusion of Chaos. All you're trying to do here is, you get the Illusion of Chaos in hand, you'll activate its effect to add the Magician's Soul, activate, and then put it back on top of your deck. Magician's Soul effect will activate to send the one off the top of your deck to the graveyard to special summon itself out of your hand, and then you're using that ideally as a second body. So you want a normal summon, so like a perfect turn 1 play is normal summon Blue Boy, search the Judgement, activate the Judgement, activate Illusion of Chaos to grab the souls to special summon itself, send the illusion, and then it also has an effect on field where you can send 2 spell or traps from your hand to the graveyard, or hand or field to the graveyard in order to draw that number of cards. So it can kind of like dig for other Spellbook stuff to add to that Judgement count, but then you would link these away for Crowley to then search something, whatever. But ultimately that's what it's for. It's an extra body. You cannot use its special summon effect if Jowgen's on the field because you can't special summon, but even then, like if this is in your hand, it lets you deck thin by searching this, putting that back in the deck, and then using its effect to send itself to the graveyard and send that out of the deck. It sucks. It's kind of a worthless play, but at the very least, it thins the deck by 1 card, and it's material in the graveyard to use for Spellbook of Life. So, a pretty cool engine. I like it a lot. Have not had a chance to play these in any other deck prior to this, so it was fun getting to try out something new. The 1 Judgement, this thing is nuts. I don't think that the rest of the archetype is good enough to make it like broken, like tier 1 whatever, even if they put it back to 3, but it's really, really good. So during the end phase, this card was activated. You can add a Spellbook spell cards from your deck to your hand, except Judgement, which you wouldn't be able to do anyway because you only got 1, up to the number of spell cards activated after this card's resolution. Then you can special summon from your deck 1 Spellcaster type monster whose level is less than or equal to the number of cards added to your hand by this effect, only once per turn. So what I was saying about the Jowgen play turn 1 is you want to get this in your hand with 3 activatable Spellbook cards. So if you were to open with like a Secrets and a Star Hall, you would activate Star Hall, that's number 1, and you get to start building counters on it. Secrets effect to search Master effect to copy Secrets to search whatever you want, and that's your 3 for Judgement. So then in the end phase, you get to search 3, and then special summon a level 3, being Jowgen, to your field. Ideally, you're also going to get like a Fate in hand, because Fate's a really good control card. So Judgement, super good. If they bump it to 2, I'm playing 2. If they bump it to 3, I'm playing 3. Just a really good card, really fun to get to resolve. And then that add at the end is just nuts. Like, I've had turns where I get to add 5, so you just grab Secrets, Knowledge, Master, Star Hall, Fate, and life, and you're good for everything. Like, you can just grab one of each card in your deck, essentially. Secrets, kind of already explained. It just adds a Spellbook card from your deck to your hand. So it can search Blue Boy, which is sometimes relevant to get the body, and then Blue Boy can search the Master, and then Master can copy the Secrets to search something else. So it's the same line of play with that extra body in there. Fate, probably the best control card in the actual archetype. It has an option to banish 1, 2, or 3 spellbooks from your graveyard, spellbook spell cards specifically from your graveyard, and then it gets an effect per. So banish 1, return a spell or trap card on the field to the hand. Banish 2, change the monster to face down defense position or face up attack position. Banish 3, banish 1 card your opponent controls. It does not target, so that can be relevant. You can hit that banish, and it's not a targeting effect, so it can work around some of those types of protections. And this thing, it also sets up for you to be able to recycle, like you can recycle your Judgement or any of these other things, because you would just banish it out of your graveyard and then Eternity it back into your hand. So it does a lot. I always want to try to end with one of these set on board with 3 in the graveyard, because it can just shut down plays, especially if you already have the Jowgen. The only problem with Jowgen is it can be attacked over, so if they can normal summon something with more than 1300 attack, because I'm special summoning this thing in defense mode more often than not, you need a way to protect that Jowgen from getting killed, otherwise you're super screwed. So just being able to banish it off of Fate usually does the trick. Double Star Hall, so this is what ends up being kind of your win con once the Jowgen lock is on the field. Each time a spell card is activated, place a spell counter on this card. All Spellcaster type monsters you control gain 100 attack for each spell counter on this card. When this card with spell counters is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add a Spellcaster type monster from your deck to your hand, whose level is less than or equal to the number of spell counters that were on this card. So it can search any of these guys. That's not really what it's for. I'm trying to get it on the field early, and then as I start cycling through all my spellbooks, it's adding counters. If you can get 2, they stack, so it's even better. Each time you activate a spell card, you get 1 on each, so 200 attack. And then it'll boost these guys, so 500 attack, 200 attack, 0 attack, and you can't summon this. And then Crowley has 1,000, and those are usually the only monsters that end up on the board, apart from strange circumstances. So if you can get through a few spell cards, you're bumping them up to 15, 18, 24, higher attack, which makes Jowgen better because it can't just be attacked over with a normal summon, and they still can't special summon. Magician's got a little bit higher of a base attack, so it just makes it bigger, quicker. So really good. I like the 2. Wouldn't play 3. Eternity. This one I initially thought 1 would be good. I like the 2 just because I have the 3 Fate, so you're going to be banishing a lot of stuff, and it's like having 2 extra copies of Secrets, more or less, because you're going to have pretty much one of everything in your graveyard within a turn or 2 anyway, unless you're just drawing really poorly. So it gives you access to all of those a second time just by banishing them off of Fate and then grabbing them back the Eternity. Triple Spellbook of Knowledge. Draw power for days. Send to the graveyard either 1 Spellcaster monster you control or 1 other Spellbook card from your hand or face-up field, except Knowledge, and if you do, draw 2 cards, only once per turn. So it's a really nice draw card. It's a draw 2. I've used it, the Blue Boy, once it's on field, if you don't have the ability to make the Crowley, you're better off getting rid of it and drawing 2 to try to dig for something else. Or like if I open this with no second body, you can just send this once you've gone through its effect, whatever number of effects you want, to get the draw 2, and you're just trying to dig. Really good draw card in the deck. Spellbook of the Master. If you control a Spellcaster type monster, you can reveal 1 other Spellbook card in your hand, then target 1 Spellbook normal spell card in your graveyard, except Master. This card's effect becomes that target's effect only once per turn. So this thing's pretty awesome. It can copy Secrets or Eternity or Knowledge. And really, it's usually going to be Secrets because you don't want to have to pay the cost of Knowledge every time if you don't have to, unless you really need to dig. But most of the time, searching is going to be a little bit better in this deck. The Eternity, like I said, it's like a different version of Secrets, so it's just to get stuff out of the graveyard. Most importantly, it extends your spell count by 2, more or less. So like if you had Judgement and Secrets, you go activate Judgement, Secrets, search Master, Master activates, well, you would need something to reveal in hand and a Spellcaster on board, but ideally, follow me here. Secret search the Master, Master copy the Secrets to search, say, Power, or anything else that can be activated right away. And then activate Power on your Spellcaster. You're now at 3, you've got the Jowgen Special Summon, and you got the search 3 in the end phase. So it's just a really good versatile card. One Spellbook of Life. I like this at 1 just fine. It can get your monsters back out of the graveyard. So you banish Spellcaster type monster from your graveyard, reveal one other Spellbook spell card in your hand, target a Spellcaster in your graveyard, special summon that target face-up attack position, equip it with this card. The level manipulation doesn't really matter because you're not using the levels for much of anything. But it's essentially a way to get the Jowgen back, even if it's just a nuke, in order to put it back on the board, use its effect, and then like wipe everything. But it does come up frequently enough. Just 1 is more than plenty. You have access to your entire deck in the graveyard and banish zone also, so even if it gets popped, you can get it back somehow. Spellbook of Power at 1, perfect. Target a Spellcaster, bump it by 1,000, so usually this will only come up if like I was able to get the Jowgen on board, but I need to clear something on their field that is a little bit bigger that I know is going to attack over that Jowgen. So being able to pump by 1,000, one of your monsters, and then hopefully you have Star Hall or something comes in handy. Or if they're just trying to normal summon stuff to, make a play, having that power, having that extra 1,000 attack usually can clear out most monsters that are able to be normal summoned, and then it searches a Spellbook spell card to your hand when your Spellcaster under power destroys a monster. 1 Spellbook Tower, I had it at 2. 1 is fine because it doesn't really do much. It's early game, it's pretty cool because it lets you start putting stuff back from your graveyard into your deck, and it gives you a second draw every turn, so it just doubles the speed at which you can dig through the deck, so that's really cool. When it gets popped, when this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Spellcaster monster from your hand or deck whose level is less than or equal to the number of Spellbook spell cards in your graveyard. So this technically also will get you to your Jowgen. Usually that's not going to be how you're getting there, but it can come up. And the 1 is plenty. Secret Village, this thing plus Jowgen is you win, more or less. It's just if they have a way to clear the Jowgen that is a trap card, I suppose, or a normal summon, you're going to lose because now you don't have another Spellcaster and you have no way to search it because your deck is all spells. So it's kind of like a gamble, but if the gamble pays off, you are absolutely going to destroy. So if only you control a Spellcaster monster, your opponent cannot activate spell cards. If you control no Spellcaster monsters, you cannot activate spell cards. So that's the problem there. But if you get Jowgen on the board with this, your opponent can't special summon, can't activate spells. So really there aren't that many traps that people are playing that can clear your board, and you've shut down any type of Raigeki or any type of like spell board wipes, Harpy's Feather Duster, the Lightning Storm, all that kind of stuff, gone. You pretty much win the game. You just sit on that and draw until you have the other monsters you want on board, start Star Hauling them up to big attacks, or don't, and just chip away with 500 and 200 until you win. And then Terraforming to search these. Double Pot of Prosperity. So this is the best draw card, I think, for the deck. I was trying to play Desires, but it just sucked to get, if you Desires away some of your one-ofs that you normally would have access to multiple times and now don't have access to at all, it hurt a lot more than I thought it would. I figured Desires would be fine because you just try to get to the Judgment before you Desires. It's just not really worth it. The problem with this thing is that it conflicts with the Knowledge because you can't draw cards the turn you activate this card, but you can still search. So all of this still works. The Secrets, the Eternity, the Judgment, all of that still works. It's just Knowledge and the Tower. You would not be able to use those on the turn that you're using this, but really if you're using this, you're digging for something to lock down the game. You're not really digging for more draw power, hopefully, unless you just whiff really hard, which can happen, but it's not likely. So 2 is good. 3, I just saw it way too often when we got this other draw power in the deck, so I like 2 plenty. I explained the pre-prep earlier. It's for Judgment, searches Illusion of Chaos. Triple Moon Mirror Shield. This thing's MVP. So I've seen people play that Power of the Guardian. I guess it's kind of a similar card. I like this better. If you don't know, Moon Mirror Shield, when it's equipped to something, when it battles a monster, its attack and defense become equal to that monster's either attack or defense, whichever of the two stats are higher, plus 100. So if you're battling something with 0 attack, your monster goes down to 100 attack. If you're battling something with 10,000 attack, your monster goes up to 10,100 attack. This thing plus the Jowgen is a nightmare for your opponent because the normal summon monster to beat over it doesn't exist anymore. they'd have to be able to wipe it with a spell. If you're able to get Secret Village plus Jowgen plus Moon Mirror, that's pretty much GG right there. It's just super locked in. Awesome card. Also, if it goes to the graveyard, you pay 500, you can put it at the bottom or the top of your deck. So, you know, I considered playing less than 3. The problem is you can't really search it anywhere, so, and you really want to have it if possible. So 3 is good. If you were able to incorporate some type of searching engine that I'm just not thinking of, that would be better, to be able to search it and just play like the 1 because it can recycle itself, but 3 for now. And then the double Judgment. It's just the most powerful going first card, and it's kind of similar to like Fate and, you know, this and this, where they're all just kind of like extra powerful backups to that Jowgen. So turn 1, hopefully you're getting Jowgen on board, plus, you know, one of these other big blowout cards so that it can't be destroyed very easily, and then you just chip away from there. So ideally turn 1, Judgment on the field. Similar to Fate, if they summon something or activate something that would be a problem, boom, gone, don't got to worry about it. And that's usually, like, it probably isn't going to be multiple of them. It's going to be one big card that you're able to shut down. The cost of 4,000 life points doesn't matter because you're just sitting on your lockdown anyway. And then the extra deck, this had a huge improvement. The other one was just kind of thrown together nonsense, but we got a couple Link 2s. I don't really use any of them, but they are useful. So Phantom Knight's Cursed Javelin, Herald of the Pure Light, Dagusto Phoenix, just because it's my favorite dual turbo card, Sky Cavalry Centuria, all for rank 2s. You could summon them, but the times that I have the ability to summon a rank 2, I'd probably rather have the Crowley search anyway. But it's an option, you know. The one Downward because you can turn your rank 2 into a rank 4, and the one Zeus because you can turn your rank 2 or your rank 4 into a rank, what is that, 12? Never used it. For our links, we've got the Magistus Maiden, Artemis. It's just a link 1 that you can use to, you know, clear your board for whatever reason. If there's a monster on the board that is like, I know nobody plays it, but think of like a Fiendish Chain type of an effect, where it's just useless sitting there now. Mostly Jowgen, obviously. You can get rid of the Jowgen with the Magistus Maiden. You still have a body on board. You can get to the life to pull the Jowgen back out of the graveyard, and then you're just going to link it away for whatever else. One area, just because your expendable bodies tend to be the water monster, if this is on board, you can't special summon anyway, so you're probably going to do two blue boys, or a blue boy and a Magician's Souls. In order to make the area, really it would probably end up being a link climbing card anyway. Double Crowley, this thing's the best link monster that you're going to go into most of the time. Two Spellcaster monsters. If it's link summon, you can reveal 3 Spellbook cards with different names from your deck, and your opponent randomly picks one for you to add to your hand, shuffle the rest back into the deck. It also has an effect to let you normal summon level 5 or higher spellcasters. We don't play any, but I suppose you could then play High Priestess if you wanted to. I decided against it, but you could play it as a one-of just for funsies, I guess. And then it doesn't have a, like, once you've used that effect, which is pretty much this effect, which is why this got cut. Once you use that effect, you can link it away into, you know, a 3 that you're probably going to have enough spell counters to use this effect to put another body on board, and then you have a 4 in these two. We're skipping ahead, though. We got the Nightmare Phoenix pop back row, we got the Nightmare Unicorn to bounce, and then, obviously, this is the big link climb play, so Selene, you have so many spell cards cycling out of your hand every turn that you're going to be more than good to be able to use this effect to put one of your spellcasters back on board, and then you can link up into the Appaloosa just to negate effects if that's what you're worried about, or link up into the access code and just swing for that 5,000 attack damage, you know, 5,300 attack damage. Just go absolutely nuts there. So extra deck, way more fun now. And then this is not a real side deck. These were things I was playing prior. Ash Blossom, I took it out for this stuff, more or less. The Wisdom, this I probably would play on the side. It's just there's not that many spells and traps that you're trying to protect your spellcasters against. Like for anything that isn't Jowgen, if you were to kill it, I don't care, more or less, because I already got the use out of it being summoned and getting its effect. And they're not super vital to like the lockdown. They're just a means to an end. The Jowgen, ideally you'd want to protect it, but you can protect it with, you know, other stuff like this and whatever. So side deck's fine if you play against a really spell or trap heavy deck, but it just didn't. It ended up being discard fodder for knowledge more often than not. And then the Triple Library of the Crescent. So this also got cut for the same reason. It ended up oftentimes becoming discard fodder for knowledge. And this does the exact same thing and is searchable, I guess, in a way. Like, you can just summon it with any 2 spellcasters in your deck, which is all of your monsters, and then it does the same effect. And it doesn't have the limit that this has, which is you can't have a spellbook in your graveyard to activate this effect. So this is turn 1, it works, or any turn after that, it is just discard fodder and it's garbage. So that's why I ended up cutting it. Turn 1, I felt like I was going to miss the consistency a bunch by not having it, but I really don't. And it's random, so you don't get a specific search. It's a spell on your Judgement counter, and then it's hopefully you're getting like the 3 I would grab are probably Secrets, Knowledge, and either Eternity or Fate, depending on if you have stuff banished already or not. Which, well, you wouldn't because it's turn 1. So it would be these 3 that I would probably be having you pick from randomly, unless I needed to take a shot at the Judgment. And then whichever one they give you, like, if it's Secrets or Knowledge, you're probably good. If it's Fate and you needed the search or the draw, that sucks, because now you're stuck with a card that you probably can't use for anything necessarily useful in this turn specifically. So that's why I cut that. But that'll wrap it up. Much cleaner deck profile here than the one a couple days ago. I enjoy it when you guys leave comments and give me ideas for decks. I really like looking at all these options and seeing the way other people think about how to build decks. So please keep doing that. You can do that with this one. I'm always down to make some adjustments to this deck. Maybe in a couple months down the road we'll do an update. Hopefully they give us back more Judgments and see what happens. But I appreciate you guys checking this out, spending a few minutes with me here today. Don't forget to subscribe if you like my stuff. Come hang out with me more often. I would appreciate it. But until then, happy deck building. I'll see you guys in the next one.